Who you trying to get crazy with this scene? Don't you know I'm loco?
You know, we had everybody. We worked with, on that album was RZA, Wu-Tang, Dr. Dre. I don't know how many people Dr. Dre rapped on their tracks, on their albums, you know what I'm saying? Wyclef, they was the biggest shit in the game at the time. Mobb Deep, you know what I mean? MC8. So that's how we approached the whole thing, because it was bigger. It's bigger than me making a beat for you. Then hopefully somebody calls me again, so maybe I can work for you and maybe get a beat on your album. Fuck all that. Yeah. This is our shit. We own our shit. You know, we get to see it out, and we got the IP on it moving forward, and it's just like I like doing full project.
What's happening, everybody? This is Bobby Ruiz, aka Bobby Tribal, and once again, it's time for that
Low Lip Podcast. Damn. Do I sound okay? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's my headphones. Yeah, it sounds a little fun.
It sounds good. Thank you, Joy.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! It's the cream.
It's Johnny just got back from Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville is fun. It was a trip. It was so crowded, like as crowded as Vegas. It's supposedly the bachelorette capital of the U.S. We saw like 100 bachelorette parties going on. Non-stop party buses, DJs on the party bus,
the main
a
strip,
bar.
that one main strip.
Yeah, on Broadway. The bars are like 3-4 levels. Every level has live music and a bar. Super packed, super cool. It was clean. Not too many homeless. Didn't feel threatened. It's probably like 90% Anglo white people, and then we were scattered in there.
Yeah, nice.
But it was fun. I'll go back.
I just did we do one? We've done one since Europe, right?
We did Obed,
and then we got I was up in Paso Robles. Went up there to visit some friends, and Los Lobos invited.
Oh
Sabrina
yeah,
and I
how'd that go?
Amazing. I'd never been to Paso Robles. Beautiful little town, wine country. Did some wineries. Amazing show with them and Ozo Motley.
Red or white? Did you do red or white?
I did red, dude. I'm down with the red. We did the sample thing, so I tried that. But, man, dude, this podcast, I'm honored. Like it's an honor to have this dude here, and I'm gonna call this dude straight, without a doubt, hip hop royalty. He changed the game for hip hop, 100%, especially in my world. He brought Latinos into hip hop in a huge way, the hugest way at that time. And I think, besides that, advocating cannabis before it was popular, before it was, something to do that everybody kind of got behind. He's a brilliant dude, man. Like, I'm not just saying that, but this dude is as sharp as they come. Been a friend of mine for the last 30 years. Running the same circles, got the same family. Sheesh. Yeah. I don't know what else to say, but this is the legendary DJ Muggs.
What's happening, gentlemen? How y'all feeling?
What's going on?
Good to see you, my brother.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Oh, man.
I'm here in a beautiful motherfucking tribal village. Can't even call this a compound. It's a motherfucking village over here. Boy. Just walking around taking it all in, man. You know what I mean?
How you like in San Diego?
I think it's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Every time I come down, I have a great time, great food, great people. You know what I mean? It's all about the company you keep wherever you go around the world, man.
Absolutely.
You got good company, bro. Any place is a place to be.
Absolutely. The you had a nice place this weekend, and that's a shit. There's man, dude. I have notes, but we've had a lot of good conversations already today, prior to lunch, at lunch, on the way here, and this guy, like I said earlier, is as sharp as they come. He understands the music business, I'd say, more than anybody. Just not just making music, but the business of music.
Try to figure it out, man. Like, I think whatever business you're in, on the art side or the blue collar side of it, if you're going to be an owner in it, you need to understand the other side of it. You know, especially you putting all these hours in to make money, man. You need to understand what to do with that money once you make it, or understand, like, your business, the trends, where it's going, where it's been, and how can I stretch what I'm doing to make it bigger and wider and broader. And, you know, otherwise you just fucking working. And what are you working for then if you don't have answers?
That's like
vision
in the music industry. That's like historic, right? Where the artist always gets like raped from their art by the record companies, where they, you know, own the rights and all that, and then you're left with shit.
You should, well, you know, I think it's up to us, man. As any kind of artist in any industry, if you want to be an artist, then be an artist, but don't complain about making money later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you plan on working hard and making some money, I would sit back and take some of my free time and educate myself about money and wealth building and money building and investing. You know what I mean? That way, all this work you're putting in to make money, somebody else ain't managing your money, especially some fucking C student fucking, you know, business manager handling your shit for you. And then you start complaining 10 years later, but you were too busy drinking and smoking, man. And, you know, educate yourself. I think we have to always educate ourselves consistently. You know what I mean? Keep ourselves uncomfortable, keep educating ourselves and whatever something. That's why you keep growing and keep stretching.
Yeah.
Educate yourself in your art. You know what I mean? Educate yourself as a father, you know, educate yourself in your business, educate yourself with money. If you have a hobby, educate yourself. Once you think you know that, fucking make yourself uncomfortable again. Educate yourself some more. Keep stretching, bro. Keep stretching.
It's wisdom right there. Huh?
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I just soak up knowledge when this dude's around. Like, he's told me things not just today, but in the past that they make a shit ton of sense. So let's go back. Like, where did it all start? Like, you grew up where, and DJing and all that kind of.
For me, man, I grew up in New York. I moved to LA when I was 12 in the summer, and right before high school, and came out here and moving from Queens, New York to Bell Gardens, California, East LA, and you know, just kind of didn't really like it. It was a culture shock for me, you know, coming from a place to where I could jump on public transportation anywhere and go to Manhattan, where it was, you know, Puerto Rican, Italian, Dominican, Irish, Black, Jewish, pretty equally mixed, to come in a place where it was 99.9% Mexican, you know what I mean? Which the culture shock was like, whoa, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And then I would go back and forth all the time. I would take a Greyhound back. Greyhounds were $99. Take 3 days to get back home. Yeah, so every summer vacation, I'd go back to New York. Every Christmas vacation, I'd go back. You know, $99 was a lot of money back then. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have the money for the $300 TWA flights. So I did that, man. And then started breakdancing. That was the shit in the streets when we were kids. You know what I mean? Breakdancing was right there. And then, you know, music really caught me. Rap music caught me because I grew up with a lot of classic rock and soul music in my house and shit. And I think rap music
Like
caught
what?
me.
What sticks out?
Hendrix, Zeppelin, Black Sabbath was my uncle. That was my mom's little brother. And, you know, I was in like kindergarten. He was probably 16 already, but we shared a room. And I remember like all the 8-track tapes against the wall and the velvet posters with the black lights, with the incense, with the lava lamps and the beads in front of the door. You know what I mean? So a lot of the aesthetics that I liked in my music that you might have noticed later were early Cypress stuff that was psychedelic. A lot of that came from that. And there was always this smell. I didn't know what it was. I mean, I figured out what that shit was later. My mom was always into soul and Motown, you know, and shit like that. So me, I think 79 when I first heard Rapper's Delight. So I was like, what the fuck is that? It was like some music I never heard before. You know, I remember sitting and listening to the radio all day just to hear that song again. Might come on 4 hours later. You know what I mean? I'd just be waiting for that shit. And then in the streets, breakdancing started, so we would do that. And then I would go across to the homie's house to get weed, probably like, you know, 9th, 10th grade, and they'd have turntables over there. And I would just start playing with their turntables while we would smoke weed. They was DJing all the house parties in East LA, you know, playing Cover Girls, Trenier, you know, all kind of shit like that. And then I just started played the party with
So
them.
the DJ thing actually struck you in LA.
Yeah.
And you were like 16?
Yeah, about
16, yeah.
And I got good. In a week, I got better than all them. And then I did a party. I learned
With the mixer?
I learned how to mix quick. I learned how to mix and blend records. That's all we were doing, right? And shit, I started doing the parties and was like, yo, I caught the fever. And I started DJing house parties every week. Little, $2 to get in for house parties. And just started.
Do you remember what you were playing back then?
We was playing, what's all this shit called? Cover Girls, Debbie Deb, It's Time, fucking, Can You Feel the Beat?
Like freestyle music.
All freestyle music. Everything was freestyle music. That's what the word I was looking for. Yeah, it was all freestyle. A little bit of hip hop. It was too slow.
Yeah,
they listened to Planet Rock, but they called it funk then. They called the other shit disco. They called it funk, and you could play a little Planet Rock here and there, and some It's Time and Tour de France. You know what I mean? But not too much. They didn't really want to trip off that. And then hip hop was just too slow for them. Way too slow. So. I bring back records from New York, though. I remember going and bringing back the little 12-inch records and coming back here. And then I just started getting good at DJing. Then I discovered battle DJing. So then I started getting into the battles.
Yeah.
And then I eventually won the West Coast Championship in '89, the DMC battle,
which is the big deal. That is the big deal for DJing as far as like DJing goes.
That was the big shit back then. You had the New Music Seminar in New York, which everybody would go to, which is pretty much the internet for music back then. It's where you found all the new shit. Everybody from around the world would come for a week, and everybody would come. You'd have a DJ battle. You'd have a rap battle. They've had all this little seminars for motherfuckers to learn the business. And I got down with my first. I had I had met B-Real and them, and we were homies. And me and B-Real had a group, and Sendog and his brother had a group. We had one big group called DVX, and there was a few more dudes in it as well.
Like a crew?
Yeah, it was about 10 people probably. And then during that time, I had met these two kids from Brooklyn named 783. And I was throwing a party at Bell Gardens Park in Bell Gardens. And they had a record out called 783 Will Rock You on Macola Records. It was a remake of We Will Rock You. Mm-hmm. It was down with Ice-T. And I didn't know nobody with a record. So I was like, why don't you guys come and play my party? So they came, they played my party, and the DJ didn't show up. So I DJ'd for him. Then it was like, hey man, we got 3 shows coming up with Ice-T. You want to be our DJ? I was like, hell yeah, let's go. So I did that. Then they asked me to be in their group. About a month later, we did a song for the movie Colors, a song called Mad Mad World. And ended up being my first gold.
I had no idea.
Being my first gold record in 1988. And then during that, then we got signed to Geffen Records when Guns N' Roses was there. 87, 88, we got signed.
So who was in that group that was in the Colors project?
Brett and Sean from 783 and me. That was the group 783.
Oh, okay.
Colors was the soundtrack.
Yeah.
That was on Warner Brothers. And one of the guys who was signed 783 was actually a lawyer at Warner Brothers at the time, Jeff Fenster, who ended up going to Jive Records and doing Backstreet Boys and all that shit later on. But he signed us up at Geffen Records. He ended up going to Geffen after Warner Brothers and signed us. And we put out a record. We went on tour with MC Hammer, Tony, Today, EU, doing stadium tours, big stadiums, and man, I learned a lot of shit with them, man. I learned pretty much everything. I went into the Rush Management was managing us, Russell Simmons and them up in New York. So I went in there one time for a meeting, and they tell me, so what's your concept? What the fuck's a concept? I didn't hear the word, but I didn't know the word concept, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then he's like, well, LL Cool J's B-Boy of rap, Run DMC's the Gangsters of rap, Slick Rick's the Storytellers, Public Enemy's the Black Panthers of rap. We were like, oh, okay. Then he was like, you guys have a logo? The fuck's a logo? I never heard that word either.
Yeah.
You couldn't tap in and figure shit out.
Yeah.
And he showed us everybody's logo, and I was like, oh shit. Because I remember walking into a music studio and go, we want to make a record. And they was like, okay, you have drum machines? I didn't know. I thought the music was in the studio already. I didn't know you had to make the music in the studio.
Yeah.
We was like 15, we walked in. Then I went back to Cypress and was like, yo, fellas, we need a concept. We need a logo. We need this. So I went and got with, my boys, Risky and Dante, Pawn Shop Press.
Shout out to them.
And they ended up doing the first logo. It was a trade. I gave them a beat. They gave me the logo. And, concept, I'm just thinking like, what do we do? Well, we smoke weed and sell weed and fuck around out here. So y'all shit gonna be smoking weed, like Cheech and Chong-ish. You know what I'm saying? So everybody at that time in rap was talking about they don't smoke weed or cess because it gives a brother brain damage. Fools were smoking weed, but they would not talk about it in a record. They was anti it in records. We came out waving the flag, man, more in the tradition of like Bob Marley. You know what I'm saying? Like on that kind of shit, East LA street shit. And
At this point, was Sen and B already a part of that group?
yeah, I might have jumped ahead a little bit, but Sen's brother, Sen had a group with his brother, and Julio was their DJ, and I was with 783. So here's how it went down. 783 was working on a song, a demo, and we was using the Delicious Vinyl Studio. Mm-hmm. So now when I would go back to Cypress, I would say, come with me, fellas. Let's go to Hollywood. Let's figure this Hollywood shit out. Let's figure this music business shit out. So I would take them with me. And the day I went to work on this one song, I took Sen's brother, Mellow Man, with me. Mm-hmm. And I got up there, and Matt Dyke was there from Delicious Vinyl, rest in peace, and Matt Ross. And I was like, yo, he raps too. And they looked at me like, oh, whatever. And then I go, he raps in Spanish. And I seen the fucking eyes go ching. But the thing was, Mellow Man didn't rap in Spanish yet. Only Sen did. Mm-hmm. So we went back to the crib, and that weekend he went and wrote a song with his mom helped him. He wrote a little demo, and we recorded it at my house.
Mellow Man did.
Yeah, I had this big ass boom box, and we would plug the mic into the boom box, put a record on it, just push record on the cassette deck. We had one take. We did a little demo. We brought it back up there, and he got a deal from that shit.
Oh shit!
So he was the first one to get the deal, and then
was that Mentirosa?
No, that was a song called "Let's Do This," and "Mas Pingon" was the B side. Uh-huh. It was both a break. It was a 12-inch on Delicious Vinyl, and then later on we. B-Real and Sen was his like hype man, like kind of like dancers, but they didn't dance. They did more B-boy strut and shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I was his DJ, and we actually played a show here in San Diego. And that's when Capitol Records saw Mellow Man and signed him. So then he went off and got his deal. And, you know, and this would happen with me though. So I wasn't in the picture no more because I told him, hey man, be careful, bro. I was up there at another day, and I heard these motherfuckers, because we would use their studio a lot. Yeah. 783. And I was like, watch out. I heard these motherfuckers talking how they're going to start shitting on motherfuckers later. So sign the deal, but watch your back. And then, you know, I got a call from the label saying, hey, I heard you said we're going to shit on motherfuckers and watch our back. I go, yeah, I said that shit. Motherfuckers in what? And all of a sudden, you know, they had another DJ in position.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. So at that point, when Mello went singles.
That's Muggs.
When Mello went solo, Sen got with B, and that's when we started Cypress Hill.
Yeah.
And then me bringing all the stuff from 783 and me bringing them to all the 783 sessions. And
the world was never the same.
It wasn't. A lot of kids' lives changed because I was young at that time when Cypress dropped back in the early 90s. Was it 92?
91 was first
91.
Yeah. This is stuff that where it goes deep. Like there's so many stories that we couldn't tell them all in a documentary because you had an hour and a half to tell 4 human being stories. Yeah. Plus the group story, you know what I mean? So we never went into this stuff. But yeah.
I remember like for me personally, yeah, a lot of rock, hip hop, funk, soul, a little bit of punk rock, ska. Started listening to the Beastie Boys and, you know, just different hip hop that was Rakim and just different hip hop that would come around, and there was no social media. You'd get a little bit on MTV. NWA came out. That's the first thing that caught my attention from out here, and I was like, that was really hitting even more than what, you know, Ice-T and whatever.
100%.
And that was like, holy fuck, these are like Crips. These that I could relate to what they were saying. It was very street. Mm-hmm. It was hard, and I was like, fuck, I was way into NWA, and I don't know who turned me on to it, but then I heard Cypress Hill, and I'm like, it was a whole new world. Everything to their Latinos.
We had a cheat sheet in a way because I would go to New York and I'd bring shit back nobody knew about. I'd bring style, I'd bring fashion, I'd be records back and ideas, and you didn't. And we had this, and then, you know, I'd bring B and Sen to New York the first time they ever went. They went with me, hung out for a few weeks, and, you know, our shit had like a New York sensibility and a musical style, but it was all West Coast gangster shit with West Coast slang. You know what I'm saying? So it had like a whole different twist, and it had a lot of rock and roll influence, but hardcore hip hop influences. So you mix all that shit up, and there was something mad unique in that. You know what I'm saying?
It was hard. It was heavy. It was Latino. It was gangster. It was weed. It was everything that we were doing back then. It was, and we could relate to it. You know, there was, you know, lowrider references and just the whole lifestyle. It changed hip hop and it just music in general, not just from the West Coast, but then the whole Latino element, the weed thing. It was just, that's when it caught fire, right?
Even rock and roll dudes like from Korn and Rage Against the Machine was inspired by Cypress Hill.
I tell people even to this day, like, there's no other band that can go and do a gig with Metallica and then turn around and go do something with Wu-Tang or do something with Rage or do something with any heavy rock band and hang with them, then till now and to this day still with what's going on in music.
Yeah,
so
we
that
played with
would,
Lauryn Hill one night, Metallica the next day, Bjork the next day, and Slayer the next day. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, dude. Who the fuck else can do that? There's nobody.
There wasn't a lot, that's for sure.
You're a humble man.
There was definitely the Beastie Boys. There was Public Enemy in their prime. You know what I mean? There was, I don't know, Beastie Boys, Run DMC. There's not too many to go from there.
That's what I'm saying. I think, but the longevity, the career, and then you had a style. You have a style that even to this day, listening to Soul Assassins 3, that is definitely unique and has grown, evolved, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But you listen to that and you know it's Muggs. You know what I mean? Like I think it's usually dark, sometimes fun. Elephants on Acid.
Things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I went to Egypt for Elephants on Acid. I was out there for 6 weeks, and I used a lot of street musicians and brought them in, and like
You recorded out there?
a lot of the music I did.
No shit.
Yeah,
Wow.
just on some different shit, man. Like I used to read
Street musicians? Like
street musicians. Dudes were like $3. I give them $100 and change their fucking life. You know what I mean? Come in tonight. Hey, you tell them to come to the studio tonight.
they're playing like, what are those called?
All the crazy shit they play.
Quintars and
Yeah.
just if you haven't heard Elephants on Acid, the Cypress Hill album, I highly recommend you go check that out.
I used to like how Led Zeppelin used to go to like Kashmir and work on an album in India, and then they'd go to fucking Morocco, or they'd go to Loch Ness and rent Aleister Crowley's house or get a castle and record it. You know what I mean? Just to have these adventures and go to different places to get different energies. That's the shit I always wanted to do. So now it's like I traveled. Me and Crime Apple went to Medellin and recorded our album. Then we went back 2 years later and went to Cartagena and recorded our album. Then I went to Egypt. You know what I mean? And it's just to travel and just have these adventures, man, and do what you're doing. Because I get bored of going to. I love my studio, but just to go to the same fucking studio every day, I go fucking crazy. You know what I mean? So I got to get a break. And when I come back, I love being in my building again.
You're always so energetic, and it looks to me and it sounds like me, and I'm going to refer back to Elephants on Acid again. There was an animation that you did, and we talked about this, that Muggs is dead. It's on YouTube. Insane. And it had to be fun as fuck to do.
Fun as fuck.
And you know, it's just trippy.
Yeah, I made it. It was really Beatles inspired, man. Like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. I was listening to the Beatles back then, just like, let me just deep dive into their shit, because I never deep dove into the Beatles. Like, let me just take a month and watch everything and look at all the documentaries and see what these dudes, because a lot of the new music don't inspire me. I go backwards. I go backwards to the artists, to the Alejandro Jodorowskys, the Salvatore Dalis, the Picassos, and then go back to the 60s, the Hendrix, the Janis Joplins. And then that's where I find the inspiration, tap into it, run it through my filter, and then spit it out what I'm doing now. You know what I'm saying? So that's where a lot of that shit came from. And, you know, just, you know, we die, we come back to life. It's like the Sphinx coming out of the ashes, you know, you create yourself. So that was more of a, it was more of a vibe than literally Muggs died. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a trip, bro. Like just going through Black Sunday, Temples of Boom. Like what album, and this might be a tough question for you, but which is your favorite Cypress album that you've done?
First one.
Yeah.
The first album for me was My Whole Life. It was my whole life. That whole album's our whole life, you know?
Yeah.
It took 4 years to make, you know, just from our first learning how to make beats to putting the record out and just making shitty ass demos and figuring our style out and figuring out what we wanted to do. Cause what was really important coming up where we came from, you had to have your own musical style. You couldn't sound like no one. If you sounded like someone, you were whack. Pop producers sounded like people because they always went for the sound of the moment. Couldn't look like no one. You were whack. You was a biting ass motherfucker. Oh, you look like Slick Rick. You look like you wearing Run DMC hats. You whack. You know what I mean? Couldn't sound like no one lyrically. You had to have your own slang. You know what I mean? Or you sounded like Rakim. He was trying to sound like this guy. So it was mad important. You wasn't getting accepted into the culture back then without that. So really made sure, we developed our own styles. That was really important at that time for us. We carried on to this day. You know what I'm saying?
And it was that first album was extreme. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It was raw, and it was kind of in comparison to the production of Temples of Boom or Black Sunday. It just seemed like just the whole production, the whole process was a lot different.
Yeah, I think all of them, the records were different. I always tried to I didn't want to make the same record over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I doing? Painting the same fucking painting over and over. So I try to bring a different style and a different vibe. So a lot of times I would get like for Temple of Boom and Black Sunday, I already had the album cover in my head and the name. So I made the music off of what the album cover was. Like in Black Sunday, I lived in New York at the time, and I would drive to Manhattan. I would drive by the cemetery, and it was winter, so all the trees just had icicles on them. Hundreds of trees with just icicles on them. I was like, yo, that's the fucking album cover right there. I'd see that. I want to make the music sound like that.
That's cool. It's sort of like the end, the destination, and you just got to figure out how to get there.
100%.
Yeah.
Like I'm visual music, so if I could see something, I can make it sound like that picture looks. You know what I'm saying? It's big for me. Yeah, the answers are, it's all the success for me was always there in the future waiting. Just got, how do we get to it? It's there already.
What do you consider, I'm going to ask you two questions.
I use Logic. I use Logic too.
Thanks. That's all, Johnny. I know how to just...
I know it wasn't you. He said thanks. I'm like, oh shit.
That's all, Johnny. Hey, and you and I have had this conversation too, but kind of not in this way, but I'm going to ask you two questions. What do you consider success and wealth? And
there's all kinds of success, man. Like, there's just personal success and having success amongst just as a human, and there's having financial success, and there's like having your artistic success. You know what I mean? For me, it's a balance. For me, it's just being a good friend, a good father, good at my art, inspiring, being a good leader with the people that are under me, and then, being financially secure as well, but then having a respect for that and an understanding and to build upon that, and not just, don't take anything for granted, man. This life we're fucking blessed to live is a fucking gift. You know what I mean? So I learned through living that, man, I'm blessed to have all these things. So I try to make sure everything gets fed, everything gets water, everything gets sunshine, everything gets time, everything gets energy, to have this perfectly balanced thing. And what's fucked up about that is, to be great at something, you got to give it 120%. So how do you find balance? If I got to give my art 120% to be great, something has to usually suffer, right? So then there's the difference between a man and a boy, right? Wife's happy, kids are happy, your fucking job's happy, your money's happy, you're happy, because usually we end up putting so much time in everything else, we forget to take care of ourselves and give ourselves time and work out, and feed ourselves. And without this, none of that happens. So that's success to me, is finding the balance of all of that and make sure all that's happy. And then on the monetary side, like I say, man, study your money, man. We work fucking hard to make fucking money, and then leave it up to the government to take all the fucking taxes, or to some business manager or accountant to tell us what the fuck to do. Like, nah, get in the books, get on the blogs. Now it's pretty much easy. You can go to all this shit online. A lot of the knowledge is there. You don't got to go seek these books out, and study your shit, so you understand what to do with your shit to make your shit grow for you. Because when you make the money, now you want the money to go to work for you. Yeah. And I know that sounds cliche, but it takes work, man. There ain't no plug and play to this. And you got to be able to see the field. You got to be able to fucking change the game plan. You got to be able to call an audible at the last fucking minutes, because sometimes the plan don't work. And then who's going to be able to call an audible in life and flip up the plan quick is going to, a lot of times, dictate your success. You know what I mean? That just comes from with living and understanding and paying attention to shit and reading and studying and keeping good mentors around you. You know what I mean? And just growing and stretching, bro. I never wanted to live a single existence as the same person doing the same thing for his whole life. Like, I seen a lot of my relatives, my uncles, doing the same shit for 50 fucking years. You know what I mean? Fuck it. That ain't me. I don't do that. Just complaining about shit. It's like, why not, bro? Let's keep learning. Let's keep growing.
To try new shit. It's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Like,
shit.
I was telling him how I'm personally the nature thing, getting out and exploring new avenues that you have in life, not just what our job, we love our jobs and we love what we do, but there's other things out there that we might want to check out and see how we feel about that.
It's just a small percentage of this job we do, just a little piece of our lives. Sometimes people from the outside look in and they think this is all consuming, but it isn't. It's just this little piece of this thing that we do. You know
Absolutely.
What I mean? And of course, we got to maintain it. We keep it going, but there's so many things to do out there. That's why I said that's why I travel and do these things. And I was talking to you a few years ago. I was like, okay, what is my goal this year? Every year I got all kinds of different goals, right? I was like, nature. Any chance I can get to nature, I'm getting to nature.
Yep.
And just get back in tune with that, man. It's a beautiful thing, nature.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only thing that's not going to lie to you in this fucking earth is nature. Nature won't lie to you. Turn the news off. Nature don't lie.
Yeah.
Go look at the sky, look at the river, look at the birds.
Yep.
It's the truth.
Watch, and that's what I was saying. You want to, have some quality time. And I'll tell you one thing that I learned from Muggs.
It's the only thing that's real.
Long time ago
This
is
shit ain't real. TV ain't real. People
that's
ain't
what I'm
real.
saying. Like, watch some shit. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to what's around you. Nature. He taught me something. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago. We were having a conversation. I don't know where we were at, and we both work really hard. And families and our friends and our mutual brothers are important to us. And he told me, "Hey, Holmes," he goes, "When's the last time you took 10 deep breaths? When's the last time you really focused on your breathing?" And back then I was like, there was no focus in me that could understand what he was trying to tell me. And he was trying to tell me to slow down a little bit, take some breaths and
people don't breathe.
Yeah.
Just take 10 deep breaths, and it's so hard for them to slow down for 30 seconds and take 10 breaths. It's like almost impossible.
And see how much it'll change.
The hardest position or movement to do is nothing. Sit still for 5 minutes. Try that. Yeah, we can move, we could run, we could talk. Sit still for 5 minutes. Breathe.
Yeah.
Breathe.
Well, you're supposed to breathe right through your diaphragm, and through your belly's supposed to go out, not your chest. Most of us.
If you breathe through your chest, just breathe.
Yeah.
I tell motherfuckers, try taking some deep breaths, man. It's like, how are you functioning? Like on the oxygen level in our city is supposed to be at 9%. Is probably at fucking 7.8. You're probably breathing a fraction of that, so you're tired all day and stuff. It's probably you're getting no oxygen into your cells. You know what I mean? Think about the simplest shit. That's what it goes back to nature. It's like the simplicity of what we're doing. We're looking for these fucking grand fucking answers when it's all coming back to the basics and back to the simplicity. And that's about the art too. The simplicity and back to the basics. You know what I mean? Always come back to the basics, man. Because
I'll tell you one thing about Muggs that and I've noticed this, and not just me, but he's a boss. He always looks healthy, focused, sharp. And I asked him this question a long time ago too. I'm like, well, what are you doing, dog? Like, what are you doing? Like, how are you maintaining this? Plus his work schedule is insane. And he tells me I mix it up. I do this, I do that, different types of exercise because I get bored and just kind of take care of myself.
Have an active lifestyle.
And not just physically, but mentally, you're always evolving and learning and trying to explore new things.
That's kind of one thing I wanted to bring up too and ask you about your experience with the Gumball 3000, right? Is that what it's called? Where you drive from LA to
3,000 miles in 5 days.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It was London to Istanbul. You know what I mean? LA to Miami. 1 year was London to New York. You know what I mean?
What the fuck is that?
It's a race, a rally. So it's like the dudes will get like 170 cars, and it's a lot of billionaires and Saudi fucking kings and princes and stuff. And then he has 5 cars he's gonna invite just his homies. So he invites me, Esteban, Tony Hawk.
Shit.
These dudes called Dirty Sanchez, which was basically like the Steve-O and those crazy motherfuckers that be jumping off buildings and kicking each other in the nuts. They're the European version.
Yeah.
So we all roll, man, and we do fucking 3,000 miles in 5 days, and you'll go from like, every day.
Racing?
No, you really don't race. You're not supposed to, but you get he likes to fuck with rich people. So what he'll do is you'll start off in London, he'll have a big party, and he'll have fucking Tiesto DJing, and you'll go back to your room. He said, "Hey, Gumballers, I hope you had a good time." Now it's 4 a.m. We leave at 6, 400-mile drive to such and such. So you'll get your card, you'll go to the lunch spot, you go to the lunch spot wherever it is, and then you'll get your card and you'll drive 400 miles. And then when you get to that next city, he'll have a fucking dinner, 5-star dinner. He might have Paul Oakenfold DJing, you'll party. welcome Gumballers, and he likes to fuck with these motherfuckers and give them an adventure. You know what I mean? And break your ass down.
Who is he?
His name's Max, and you'll be on racetracks for lunch sometimes. Like one time we went to the we left Vegas one time and we're at the fucking what's the big dam, the Hoover Dam over there? That was where lunch was.
Oh shit!
He'll have lunch at the Ben and Jerry's place, like these weird, crazy places along the trip. You know what I'm saying? So you end up having these adventures with these crazy people you never know who you meet in your life. So we're hanging out with just Saudi princes and kings. We got to Istanbul one time and they rented this fucking sailboat yacht for 36 people. The Saudis, and had a dinner in the channels of Istanbul.
Fuck.
Call to prayers at 6:00. We're in this fucking boat having this dinner. You know what I mean? Me and Bun B and Esteban, another guy named Butsy. So he does it every year. I think last year it was Toronto to Cuba.
What?
He'll do the state stuff a lot of times for the European drivers, and then he does Europe for. Switches it all over the world.
Mix it
is
up,
it profitable for him? He does it for fun?
It is. That's why he gives only 5 cars away, because it's profitable, because he charges for those other cars.
But imagine
So
there's
bring
no
your own
permits.
car. It's like $70,000 to get in. 2 drivers, so $35,000 each driver probably. 5-star hotels. Like we did. One year was the Monaco Grand Prix. He rented the whole hotel with the nastiest, most famous hairpin turn. He rented the whole hotel out for 3 days. So we watched the Monaco Grand Prix. We went to the pits. We watched it from the hotel. Went on fucking yachts in Monaco. First time I was on a yacht, that took me to the yacht. Who Kim.com, who ends up has mega uploads. So I'm chilling on there, me and Esteban. I was like, what the fuck? Then the helicopter's coming, and the fucking swimming pool comes up and pushes the water to the side. The helicopter lands. Motherfuckers get off, then the pool goes back down, and the water comes back in the pool.
Yeah.
What?
You know, it's like wealth. Like, motherfuckers think they're rich here.
Yeah, no.
Any rich billionaire in America,
Yeah.
you don't know what money is.
Yeah.
That's motherfucking money.
That's when you really see money and you
When they're
understand what
calling
money
it
is.
200 bottles of these fucking $5,000 bottles of fucking champagne. The Saudis are just having that shit come out like it's water. You know, it's crazy, bro.
Do they still do it?
Yeah, they do it every year. Gumball.
Still. Gumball 3000. I think I remember
the Gumball Rally.
I think I remember Esteban telling me about it.
Yeah,
somebody went to jail,
Me and
right?
Esteban did it. A bunch of fools got locked up because they ended up going 170 when you're not supposed to go that fast.
And they don't have permits to go through these cities or nothing.
A lot of times, the cops know you're coming, so the cops, like in New Orleans and Louisiana, were waiting on the freeway for us. At every stop on the freeway, there was a cop. When we got to Canada, they wouldn't let us drive through, so they gave us a police escort, so we could only drive as fast as the police were in front of us the whole time. So a lot of cities will do that. Germany didn't want us to drive through on the Autobahn, so we had to take buses through Germany. And the cars had to be put on flatbeds till we got to the other side. So, but he drives the rally like 3 times before every year, and he goes and he talks to every mayor and every governor and works it out so we can come to the city, because it actually brings a lot of money to the city.
Wow.
It's amazing, huh? It's interesting.
That's badass.
Yeah.
Good times.
Is that one of the funnest, dopest things?
I did it for like 8 years. Then I was like, all right, I got other shit to do right now. Because,
Speaking of other shit to do, a lot of people just know you as DJ Muggs, Cypress Hill, Soul Assassins. Mm-hmm. But you've produced stuff for a lot of people. And I think there's two things here. One is you're very humble and classy, and I know you don't talk about it. You're not out there waving a flag, look at me, I did this and shit like that. It just motherfuckers know who you are. Who have you had the opportunity to work with, and what have you produced besides?
I mean, I did U2. Got a chance to work with U2.
They're kind of a big band.
Janet Jackson, Pearl Jam, Simply Red. That's some of them.
Yeah.
Some of the shit right there.
And I know, because I got into it for a little bit. I really was into trip hop for a while. And I worked with Bjork and Tricky. I did an album with Tricky. Yeah, see, I forget some of the shit I did. Yeah, I know. I have some of them in my notes.
Artist named Ingrid Schroeder I worked with from England. I went out there for 6 weeks one time and worked with her. She was signed by the guy who signed Simply Red, and George Michaels ended up signing her. That's why I ended up working with her.
I was listening to an interview. I really like Portishead. Really
me too.
A good friend of mine turned me on to Portishead.
Good shit.
And I was listening to an interview and talking. They were talking about whoever was interviewing. I'm like, who inspires you? who inspires you? And they're like, DJ Muggs. Like, to me, that was like, where are they finding?
Yeah.
Can you grab one for me too, por favor? Like, where's that? They were talking about some shit that I had no, thank you. Had no idea, like, the way he does this or that or something. Like Portishead. Fuck.
Yeah, I tried reaching out to the lady a few years ago to work with her.
She won't do it, huh?
No, I tried. It was through the managers. Your managers are fucking weird, but it was, I just don't like dealing with managers sometimes. I'm sure if I talked to her, we would have just kicked it and done something, you know what I mean? But a lot of times, you know, the managers, a lot of the artists doesn't know, but the managers kind of make you do what they want sometimes.
Yeah.
On the back end, especially if you're an artist that wants to stay away from all the business. But yeah.
What trip hop? So what albums or groups did you work with in trip hop? Because I need to go look for that.
I did a record called Dust. That's pretty much like that. You would dig it. I did it on Anti Records, which is a punk rock label. And there's Greg Dooley's on there, Josh Todd from Buck Cherry, but they're sounding more different. This probably sounds more like OK Computer by Radiohead type shit. You know what I mean? Ingrid Schroeder, Tricky. I did a Bjork remix. So that kind of shit right there.
Who do you like? Who are your favorite trip hop acts?
Portishead.
Yes.
Portishead, Everything But the Girl, Maxine Quay, the first Tricky album, and Massive Attack.
Massive Attack.
Those are probably the ones right there. That's
that
probably
was a great time in music, too.
Yeah, that time. That time was so,
Yeah.
and the Sade, you know what I mean? The early Sade shit, like, because everything was so different, but it all coexisted, and you would like these different things. Even in rap, everything was so different early in the late 80s.
Did you do a lot of that in Europe? Or were you doing it
I
in
did,
LA?
I did Ingrid Schroeder in Europe. I went out there for 6 weeks and lived in England and worked with her, but the rest of it I did in New York. I was living in New York and LA, back and forth all the time.
Soul Assassins. Besides the family part of that, which I've been blessed and fortunate to be around for so many years, and where did all that come from? And you turned that you've done 3 Soul Assassin
Yeah,
albums?
Soul Assassins was like, we had a crew.
So it's the crew plus.
The crew was bigger than, like, a lot of people have like rap groups with a bunch of rappers and that's their crew, right? We had a gang of motherfuckers, from gang motherfuckers to art, to photographers, to tattoo artists, to homies that build cars,
Clothing
and
brand
car
owners.
stereo, clothing brand owners. And, you know, I started bringing some people in to take my pictures and launching their careers for them.
Yeah.
And I would launch, you know, somebody who did their first videos, they ended up doing big movies, launching their careers. And when it was time for them to come back and return the favors, they wanted $100,000 or they wouldn't return the favor. We wouldn't get a call to be on the soundtrack of their new movie. And I was like, you know what? Fuck these motherfuckers, man. I'm only hiring my friends from now on. And that's it. There was a photographer from Italy. It was $35,000 for some pictures. This is what Columbia Records paying for him. And I couldn't get no pictures. They wanted to charge me but you took pictures of me and I can't get a picture. Then I was like, you take the pictures, homie. Esteban.
Yeah.
You didn't really take pictures then, you know.
Yeah.
When I hired Esteban, he worked at the door of a club. And I was like, yo, I got this new group called House of Pain. You want to be the road manager? He goes, what is a road manager? I go, I'll teach you. Don't worry about it. It's easy. He started road managing. Then his dad gave him Steve-O. His dad gave him a camera and he was like, son, document your life. So while we was out there one day, I'm like, yo, you take the pictures for now. Let's get the homies paid. So starting Soul Assassins, it was like, let's build our own economy. Let's hire each other. Let's all put our resources together. So if you have a goal, you can tap into my resources. If you have a goal, we can tap into our resources. And as us 3 grow, the homies can tap into all of our resources as we all build and grow. And, you know, everybody that's came up with us, pretty much is, you know, we all look out for each other still. We all still give each other jobs. Nobody asks for commissions. Everybody takes care of each other. Whatever needs to be done at that time, at that point, everybody just helps each other, bro. And everybody's been ultra successful doing that.
As it should be, right? Like,
it's easy.
Like,
because I'm like, you know what? There's enough money for everybody and more. And I'm not going to make money from you. We're going to all make money from them.
Yeah.
But the more we help each other, the more we can make money from them. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's no nickel and diamond around here.
Yeah. And then, Soul Assassins 1 was
on the music side. So then on the music side, I was like,
side.
I've never been into producing for a lot of other people, like single tracks. I like making albums. I've always liked making albums, seeing something from the beginning to the end, having an artistic vision. So I turned down so many motherfuckers asking me to do music for them, in the early 90s. And I was like, you know what? I want to work with all these motherfuckers, but I'm going to bring them into my world and do Soul Assassin shit, have them on our shit. So that's when the first Soul Assassins album came about.
Because you want to work with me, you do me. I'm not going to do you.
And, we had everybody. We worked on that album was RZA, Wu-Tang, Dr. Dre. I don't know how many people Dr. Dre rapped on their tracks, on their albums. You know what I'm saying? Wyclef, they was the biggest shit in the game at the time. Mobb Deep, you know what I mean? MC8. So that's how we approached the whole thing. Because it was bigger. It's bigger than me making a beat for you. Then hopefully somebody calls me again, so maybe I can work for you, maybe get a beat on your album. Fuck all that. This is our shit. We own our shit. We get to see it out, and we got the IP on it moving forward. And it's just like I like doing full projects.
But you've worked with, you just named all those people, and that list goes on and on and on. Like just all the way to Soul Assassins 3, which is the latest project. My personal favorite, I told you earlier, is the track with Method Man and Slick Rick.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Metropolis.
Oh, dude. But you look at the lineup on who's on that album, who's on, like it's ridiculous. I don't know if there's anybody who's
So we made a movie called Death Valley, which will be coming out later this year on Amazon. We're just touring the movie around and screening it around the country right now. And so basically this is the score and the soundtrack actually for the movie. So I just didn't want to throw the movie up on YouTube like a lot of motherfuckers. So I'm taking it and driving it around. If you know about what do you call them? I can't think right now. Grindhouse Films. The reason they called them Grindhouse Films, a lot of them, they were B movies, but they only had one reel. Reels were expensive to put the movies on, back in the 70s. Yeah. So they would drive the reel from city to city for the weekend, and they play it here for the weekend. Then they take the reel and drive it to the next city, and they play it for that weekend. They had one reel. So I'm doing the same style with this movie. I'm taking this movie, into different cities and just doing premieres in different cities. It's like our 5th city right now, San Diego, we're doing tonight.
When's it dropping on Netflix?
No, it's not going to come out on Netflix. It's going to come out on Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah. Later on in the year. I got to do a bunch of more cities still.
Homie, you're not ready. It's not what people are expecting. When I first saw it, there were so many different emotions and feelings. It's hard. It's psychedelic. It's a little bit sick. It's fucking mugs. Like it's not what people are expecting at all. It's super creative. It's well shot. It's just different. It's very, very artistic. Is this something you want to continue? Like, did you enjoy it enough to work on another one?
I wasn't gonna, this music's been done for almost 3 years, the Soul Assassin album. And I was like, how am I going to put it out? So last year I was like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put out a song every 6 weeks. So I started releasing songs last year. I'd actually dropped the Slick Rick one. I dropped another song. Then I was like, oh, this is all right, but I don't want to do this either. So I was like, how am I going to drop this? Then I met with my boy, Jason Goldwatch, who actually directed it and wrote it. We co-wrote it together, and he, I was like, here's what I'm trying to do, bro. Boom, boom, boom. I'm trying to shoot something for like a 15-minute movie. And he was like, man, that's a big ask. And I was like, let's see what we can do. Okay. It ended up being 34 minutes. And I was like, okay, now I have the delivery system that's bigger than music, the way I want to deliver this to the people. Because the music just didn't, I feel like sometimes it just ain't as exciting. Music has a short shelf life these days. What I mean? We don't make pop records. So I was like, what can I do to excite me, to make this fun for me, something I haven't done, something to stretch me artistically? What can we do? So we ended up doing this film. We shot it in Oakland, San Francisco, Joshua Tree, Death Valley, Vegas, and LA, over the course of 6 weeks. So the journey was the destination, driving, shooting it, doing it in all these places. Yeah. That shit was fun as fuck.
It was, and I, knowing Muggs for so long, and he's got this really contagious laugh when he decides to really laugh. and there's a part where he laughs in it, and I just started crying.
We was fading. Yeah, it's psychedelic, man. It's like Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd meets Jodorowsky. Like the shit's a real Pink Floyd acid trip. This movie.
Yeah. It definitely is, dude. It'll even not like, yeah, but I it's exciting. It's something to do. So what's I'm gonna ask a couple more questions. And we'll wrap it up. Top favorite MCs of all times.
Wow, man. You know, it's funny because whenever I answer this question in different interviews, it's always different. It's like whatever.
That's
I'm
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But for me, like somebody who really inspired me and inspired my whole sound and aesthetic is a MC called Ram LZ. Ram LZ was a big influence on me. From the Wild Style soundtrack to his single Beat Bop, which was actually produced, who didn't really make the music, but was actually produced by Jean-Michel Basquiat. And so he's one of my favorite MCs ever.
Basquiat did that?
Yep.
Wow. I had no
Beat
idea.
Bop. It's like a fucking 15-minute song. Check it out. Ram LZ's on some shit. If you like sampled a lot of stuff in there for Cypress Hill. But it was so psychedelic and so bugged the fuck out. You know what I mean? That I was like, I was like angel dust music. It was like dusted out music. Like he was smoking Sherm, you know what I mean? And busting rhymes. And he had a big exhibit in the first Art of the Streets. They had his whole living room in there with 40 ounces. And you've seen Gothic Futurism, the whole alphabet he created and everything as an artist, right? It's just bigger than rap. You know what I mean? That's one of them right there. Public Enemy, Chuck D's one of my favorites. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Rakim, you know, so Run DMC. Like these are brothers that inspired me to want to do what I'm doing, you know.
What about producers?
Larry Smith, who did all the Houdini, Run DMC shit. Molly Mall, the Bomb Squad. You know what I mean? Like these motherfuckers was like EPMD. These ultramagnetic MCs, said G. All that sounds right there is Cypress Hill. Like all that is the inspiration for what I do.
That's the thing, man. You listen to it and you don't know where he's pulling shit from. So
well, that's the thing. When you're young, you copy. You're supposed to copy. That's how you learn. Yeah. But at what point do you make it yours? That's what's going to separate the copycat motherfuckers from being a genius. It's like at some point I could copy everything you do, but you should be able to look at my shit and not know I copied from you. Yeah. That's where where we got to get into. A lot of cats now just like they copy things it's cool. Like it's a whole new generation in a way of being, you know what I mean? That wasn't a respectful thing before. You got shit on and stomped out.
So what do you, what's next?
Music wise, right now we doing Champagne for Lunch. So last year, me, Madlib, and Mayhem Loren did a record called Champagne for Breakfast. This year, Champagne for Lunch will drop. You know, Matt, you know, Gems from the Equinox, Mayhem.
That's another album. If Gems from the Equinox is insane.
Yeah, it's a
like
good record.
Great record. If you don't know who Mayhem Loren is, he's like Action. If you watch Fuck That's Delicious, he's Action Bronson's boy. Oh, the dude who tours with them, big black dude, super cool, sense of humor. His voice, there's a lot of real good shit on that record.
Yeah. That we got a jazz album probably going to be up for a Grammy this year. Something me and Sun Ra have a jazz project, and I'm going back. I'm dropping some more wines this year.
Oh yeah, he does a few more wines.
Oh yeah,
he goes up to the
with the winery here in
different ones. So the first one was from Germany. The other one was Brock Cellars. They're out of Berkeley.
Oh, okay.
They have I'm going up there actually this week to go pick some grapes. It's time. It's harvest time. So we'll go up there and get ready. It's natural wines, all organic natural wines. The last one we did was a white skin tone, which means is they leave the skin on them, so they come out orange. But it's light alcohol, like 7% alcohol. You can drink it in a day for lunch. It tastes like fruit juice, not too sweet, but fucking nice.
Hell
no headaches.
I gotta try that.
You don't add sulfites in natural wines, so you don't get a headache and get all that extra shit. They don't last 200 years on the shelves either, but the wines are fucking good, man.
Lifestyle's good, huh?
Yeah, man. You know, it is like I create just the life I want to live.
Yeah.
So a lot of that shit is I just like going up to the wineries and going up north and chilling and drinking wine and having good dinners. You know what I mean? So I'm just creating my fucking life. You know, I'm not waiting for nobody to knock on the fucking door.
It's beautiful, right? The wineries is kind of like nature because you get out there and you're right there in the vineyard in the via, and you're just enjoying it.
Yeah, and you get around real smart, different, interesting human beings you would never talk to in your life.
Yeah,
now you're sitting there having conversations with them, and it's like you learn a lot of shit.
And that's what's really cool. And we were kind of we touched on this a little bit earlier. Like, I have family and friends from different parts of the world, and they know nothing about me other than who I am, or they don't know.
Give a fuck what you do or what you have,
they
or
don't care.
You know, in your car and your jewelry. I don't give a fuck. They just know you're cool and you're here right now.
And that's really fucking cool.
That's the best shit.
Yeah, especially like you just have a good time. You're sharing stories or knowledge, and you're kind of you're in the same world, but it's like that's good shit. You got any more questions, Johnny?
Oh, I got tons. No, I have a statement actually.
Okay.
We've had a lot of guests in here, and you said the word mentor earlier, and a lot of pretty much everything you said is very insightful and helpful for people like me. And I think everyone, don't matter your age. I'm not going to
I would
say anything,
consider
but
Muggs one of my mentors, even though he's a little bit younger than me. He's younger than me, but every time I chop it up with this dude, I learn something. This dude is sharp as fuck.
Yeah, whether it's intentional or not, just wanted to let you know that's very inspiring. Everything that you not been through, but what you speak on it. Yeah, and
man, I think now it's like things like I think my job is from what I do is my job is to inspire and push the culture forward. Like everything that I love about the music I love, it's just to inspire the next generation of motherfuckers. Yeah. So they're gonna do this certain style of music that kind of went away for a minute. It was still there, but it was light because when all the streaming came in, now it's back strong. There's a handful of motherfuckers that pushed it to this next level. Yeah. Now dudes are making major label money doing this underground music. Yeah. You might not even know their names, you know what I mean? So to inspire the next Muggs, inspire the next Dre, inspire the next such and such, he inspires the next fucking fashion moguls, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like we're here to do this now. So this is this is my role.
One more question, and this might be another tough one. New hip hop. Stuff that's come out in the last 2 years. Oh man,
I like Larry June. I like I like Freddie Gibbs. He's got a really good range. You know what I mean? I like this rapper from New York named Crime Apple. I like Rome Streets from New York.
Dante's got a kid who's coming that I listen to.
Dante's got a kid too. He's got some shit. And then this is like the underground shit that I like.
You get angry because I get angry sometimes when I see certain clothing brands doing certain things and the industry changing the way.
What's funny though? What's funny is motherfuckers they like they invented something or are doing it for the first time and they get a little cocky on Instagram and I'm like, bro, you have no fucking clue. We done did this 10 times, fucking 100 times bigger. Or they think this shit don't stink. You know how motherfuckers are.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, my show was a movie last night. I was like, bro, come on now. Relax.
Yeah.
Relax. Yeah. But I just let them live, man. I just let them live, and I'm like, you don't have a clue, man. And then motherfuckers think they're working. They're on Instagram going. They go to the studio and then they're typing their shit like going and promoting on Instagram. I'm like, ain't no work. Studio ain't work. Doing a show ain't work. Tweeting ain't work, bro. And that's the fun part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think I look at it and I'm like, these motherfuckers is funny. Maybe I should just go pet my dogs or some shit.
We took a different road, man. It was much more work. I think it was more exciting. We
had to figure it out. There wasn't a blueprint. Yeah. We was building the fucking plane while it was flying, figuring this culture out, developing this shit.
Doors. Yep, for sure.
You couldn't Google and get the answer. Motherfuckers didn't want to give you the answers. They didn't want to help you. I need a printer. I'm not telling this fool. I need this. Where'd you get that done now? Nobody wanted to help nobody.
And like he was saying earlier, I feel blessed to be a part of this family and in the same circles and having accomplished what we all have. And we did knock down some doors and we did fucking pave some roads and we made it. We did it. It wasn't easy, man. Like this was pre-social media, pre-Facebook, pre-Instagram. Fucking, we were using fax machines for shit. And
yeah, when fax machines just came out. Remember when fucking FedEx first came out? I was like 24 overnight mail. Oh my God, that changed my fucking life.
So what were you sending? DAT tapes?
No, I was sending that, but also artwork. Like they would send the artwork from New York, and I got it overnight instead of 3 days, and then I would make my changes and then tell them, and then then overnight it again. That was big. That was big fucking
Yeah.
shit right there, bro.
Yeah.
And then you started like with analog too, right? Recording.
100%.
Yeah.
I remember we have to do DATs and shit. I remember when we first got cassettes, but when the first people who got a fucking CD in the studio, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That wasn't until like 97, bro, 96, 97. I was like, God damn. Then they want to charge me $100 to burn a CD in the studio.
What?
Yeah, because that's what they could do. But we didn't have CD burners. That shit was brand fucking new. The
It's
shits we got excited. I remember getting excited about call waiting for.
Yeah, caller ID. You didn't have
Even when the fucking phone came out.
we all had.
Oh, I missed the wrong number. I got to start over. 9.
We all had cartoon sidekicks.
Yeah, all that shit. Before fucking phones and world phones, before pre-cell phones, all this shit, man. Two-way pagers and shit.
That's the shit.
I think, man, I'm so blessed to be born in the time I was, to experience the analog world and the digital world, and be out of an age where I got to get the fullness out of this and to be able to get the fullness out of this, bro, and to experience both. But I think you motherfuckers don't ever shit on technology and get mad, and always embrace it. You could be like the dude who had the horse and buggy and he watched the car drive by and he was like, man, fuck the car. And then you end up going out of business. Yeah. When the .com came, I was like, fuck the internet. What's this internet store? Like, if they pull the plug, what happens? And I kind of shit on it, and I watched what it did. So after that day, I've never shit on technology. I embrace it. I embrace blockchain to the fullest. I embrace everything. And like, I try to study it. I try to understand it. I try to use it to move forward. Don't ever be that old motherfucker bitching and complaining about what the kids are doing. Understand it. Figure it out. You know what I mean? That's when I go get uncomfortable again and study. Because shit ain't gonna stop. Yeah. You're gonna get left fucking behind and be a grumpy old fucking man, you know what I mean? Or you embrace it and you stay fresh and you stay young and you stay with the next flow of artistic.
See, I gotta take that.
The next wave of kids, man, and you're down with them and they're like, you're cool, you different. You ain't old, you know, motherfuckers look at you different. You gotta go with it, man. Don't ever push it to the side, man.
See, more knowledge. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, like I said, so I'm gonna go back. Soul Assassins 1, 2, 3, the albums. Gems from the Equinox is ridiculous. Elephants on Acid, I'm gonna say trip out. From the visuals to the audio, that record's genius. Like that record is
yeah,
genius.
It was a trip. Like philosophy I had on that was like, I was like, how do you tap back into this when you watch like what was the one with the fucking girl going down the rabbit hole?
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, you know when you were a kid and you just had this, you were just wide open, like your senses were open. And Alice in Wonderland, was this shit real or was it not real? You don't even know. You just got to stay open and to tap back into your imagination of being a child, or just that free imagination before people took that away from you. And that's the mindset I had making Elephants on Acid. Yeah, just to tap back into that imagination.
And also Death Valley. That there's elements of that too. Muggs is like the new Pink Floyd, or you know, something psychedelic that is on another level. I think if you're not going to comprehend it now, you'll comprehend it later. But it's
and if not, I'll see you in hell, motherfuckers. We'll talk about it then. Because none of y'all motherfuckers is gonna make it out alive. Yo, we're all gonna die, motherfucker. Get to living.
That's right. DJ Muggs
in the house, baby.
Hip hop royalty.
Thank you, brother. Love you. Thank you, my brother. Pleasure. Thank
Soul
you very much.
Assassins, Cypress Hill, Johnny Be Good.
Get Money Gang.
That's right. Tribal Click, Lower Left Podcast, 17th and Island, San Diego. We're out.